Krishna Prasthaya Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namne Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Prachayana Nirvishesha Shrimati It's me.
Microphone.
Maybe it's somewhere here, or I don't know. Yeah. So I guess today the subject of today's lecture was how to serve and deserve. That's actually a direct quote from Srila Prabhupada, who make it very clear right away in the beginning for the newcomers that first you must serve and then you deserve. This is not a very popular subject matter amongst people in general, because people actually, we came here to the material world not to serve. We want to be the master, we want to be the controller, we want to actually enjoy. The whole idea is, how do I enjoy? You go around Malmö, every shop, every place is designed to heighten up the level of enjoyment. Come here and you will enjoy more, one way or another, mentally or physically, or yeah. This is the whole idea of business, and everybody's the same propaganda. So, of course, Prabhupada explained, and that very much in detail, and over again. One can sometimes wonder why Srila Prabhupada repeated these things so often. When you even read his books, you find actually many points being made over and over again. I know that some devotees who consider themselves to be very intellectual think, yeah, that's okay, we heard this already. Yeah. We have to go further. We want to study more further. I am more the intellectual academic person. Well, just historically spoken, I saw enough academic persons finally committing activities which even my father wouldn't do, and he was not a devotee. So you think, how is that possible? Big knowledge, big speech, and then he starts to act like on a level which you wouldn't expect from an animal, actually, practically spoken. How is that possible? So Prabhupada very much disliked this type of hypocrisy. It's actually hypocrisy. Therefore, he stressed certain issues. If you want to approach God, first of all, he even raised the issue that we should approach God. You're gonna imagine? This Hare Krishna movement is actually funny, you know. We always ask, we ask, you know, we raise the questions and then we give the answers. It's a little bit like if you would tickle yourself and then you scratch yourself again. And you tickle yourself, you scratch yourself again. You know, sometimes you feel like that. Hey, somebody has some reasonable question. It happens, you know. But most people don't even know. What should I ask? I'm living my life, you know, like anybody else, you know. Oh, well, I'm happy. Yes, I'm happy. You know, yeah. I was always funny when I was in Germany on a street distributing these books. Everybody tells you, I don't need this. I'm happy. We're all happy. You know. But actually, one thing happened. The whole thing gets disturbed immediately. Because the agitation and distress is just around the corner. There's birth, old age, death, and disease. I never understood why people are so happy when somebody is born. Even before I came to Krishna consciousness, for me, being in a male body, birth was something so dramatical and so ghastly. There's blood. I don't want to go in detail even. What happens there? It's not something you watch and you are eating simultaneously, you know. Not really. You know. And the baby comes full of mucus and just everybody screaming, the mother screaming, the baby screaming, everybody screaming like he's dying. And sometimes death and birth are very close to each other, actually. I speak from a plain experience because I was at the birth of my daughter. And I have to say, very few moments in my life I was so much in distress. It was such a distressful thing. Especially because it was very complicated, it was very dramatical. I don't want to go in detail now, but if somebody speaks about babies, there is a certain age to it, and there is a certain type of body you have to have. If you overdo it, you know, and you are not in that age and not in that type of body, it can get very dangerous, very dangerous. So I experienced that because I did everything too late in my life in this regard. It was always too late. The only thing actually I did, I joined this movement quite early. Yeah, that's the only thing I did early. Otherwise, I did everything too late. You know, yeah, I got married too late. I got a child too late. Everything was too late. But I'm not alone. This is a classical example of those who actually were at the beginning of this movement. You know, they all kind of didn't evolve as people evolve today. So there's a certain biological regulations you cannot violate, really. I don't want to quote Prabhupada, who said, what's the use of ladies having babies when they are older like 20? You know, this is the Vedic standard. You know, I experienced here in Sweden, in Korsnäsgård, a girl having a baby, she was 18 years old. I said, the next day she was sitting again in the office helping producing Prabhupada book. I was going, what happened? Where's the baby? Oh, it's lying there, it's okay. It was like, you know, like taking lunch, you know. Hello, there was a baby, and you know, yeah. So I was like, yeah, there's a certain age for everything. Anyway, the point is to be made today is that Prabhupada stressed very much this preliminary and basic requirements to even start devotional service. It's not for everybody. It is for everybody who wants to take it, sure. But not everybody actually is qualified if he doesn't fulfill a certain requirements. Therefore, one of the points Prabhupada stressed right away in the beginning is, first you serve. And then, for those, he immediately noticed there was some hesitance and some, why serve? Why should I serve? What should I serve? You know, I want to be served, but not served. No. This is a classical conflict, male and female. Who served whom more? That's a real issue, you know. Yeah. The ladies think, you know, I serve so much, but what do I get out of this? And the man thinks, well, I served even more, and I get nothing. What do I get? You know, yeah. All the grihastas know what I'm talking about. You know, it's all about, I'm serving, and what do I get out of this? Well, on a material platform, it can become like that, yeah. Because in a material platform, there is serve and not deserve. When Prabhupada mentioned first serve and then deserve, he was aiming for the spiritual platform. And Krishna makes in the Bhagavad Gita a wonderful, wonderful promise. He said, whoever serves me, even the smallest service being committed, it never goes in vain. Why? Krishna never forgets. He's God. He doesn't have to remember what you did for him. He knows it. He never forgets. So that's a big difference. Sometimes when you serve people, people forget what you did for them. Or they don't want to even remember that. Or the worst class of people I met is those who think completely automatically that everybody should serve me. Of course. Just serve me. That's it. The success of your life. You will serve me. That's it. You know, this is, I am still remembering such a people met in my life. I still have a very violent thoughts about them. Because they're just exploiting others. Just taking service and, well, there is a law of karma. And law of karma is very strict. If you received a service, yeah, then you have to pay for it. If not in this lifetime, just wait. Next lifetime you have to come back and pay for it. That's very, very unpleasant thought. I give an example. There was Prabhupada in Vrindavan, and on the street was sitting a professional chanter. There are such a people, you know. They have the harmonium and they will go beautiful melodies and they go, ah, and then they have a donation box. You know, yeah. And first of all, Prabhupada said these people are actually offensive. They are using the holy name for their material benefit. Prabhupada gives example. I had a neighbor like this in Calcutta. He was a family man. He was not living far away from our house. And every morning he dressed like a sannyasi, you know, begging. You know, he had a sannyasi dress, you know, and he was going begging. And then he came in the evening, he took the sannyasi dress, he put it in a cupboard, and they had a big feast, the whole family. You know? So Prabhupada said, this is very offensive. The reactions, Manu Samhita and all this, who are, for those who are even exploiting the benefits of holy dham, especially the holy places, and turn it into a business places to make some money, the reaction for that are ferocious. Horrible, horrible, horrible. You know, you spend 1,000 lifetimes like a shackle, infected with fleas, who's just completely, has a skin disease. That's one of the reactions. Things like that, yeah, yeah. So it's very dangerous actually to receive service from others, yeah. In Krishna consciousness too, yeah. Because we can only receive service to the degree we transfer the service to Krishna. That's Krishna's recommendation. You serve me, don't worry, I will never forget. And I will take care of you. Like any servant. Any servant in Krishna's view is taken care of. That's actually called a devotee. A devotee just serves and he depends not idly, actively. We have to develop some, Prabhupada quoted even the Christians saying that God helps those who help themselves. That means we have to develop the initiative and then Krishna gives blessing or not. That's up to him. Yeah. That's what he tells her to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. You must fight. This is your duty, but don't bother with the result. The result is up to me. This is my department. But you just have to do your duty. So this is the life of a devotee, essentially. So we have, sooner or later, living in this world, we get the experience. This is, by the way, a little bit inside information. I experienced it myself very vividly. That sometimes you serve and serve, even name of Krishna consciousness. Nobody even says thank you. Like I served in Stockholm, I have to be very specific now because I'm in Sweden. I served day and night in Stockholm, 45 devotees, for 15 years in Stockholm. We had a restaurant, we had a temple, and you ask anybody of these devotees, they knew exactly. If they have a problem, they go to Manidhara. Day and night. I had a phone calls midnight. Yeah. And I remember my godbrother, Sachinanda Swami, he came, he saw me just running the whole day around. Prabhu, what do you need? Oh yes, sure, yes, okay. Well, when you have a restaurant and all these things, we had a restaurant with 500 to 600 guests a day. That's crazy. It's completely crazy. Even the machines in a kitchen cannot take it. They break down. We had a professional equipment in a kitchen. I never bought new one because it was all in a warranty time. It broke, in 1-2 years, finished. Dishwashing machine, finished. Stoves, finished. That's when you have so many people coming. There's constant some problem. Devotees problem, this problem, that problem. I had 22 devotees just in a restaurant working. We opened 11 o'clock in the morning and we stopped 9 o'clock in the evening. And then actually my day started because I had to shift everybody, nobody lived in that place, to our place where we were living. So I was a taxi driver until midnight, just shifting devotees back and forth. Things like that. I remember my godbrother, he came, he said, how can you live in such a crazy place? And I told him, I love it. Actually, I still miss it, I tell you quite frankly. I love it. I love catastrophes. I like disasters, and all this, When things go really mad, I become completely invigorated, yeah. Here, Mataji's crying, we had, in a restaurant, we had like 10 Matajis for sure. And they cry at the same time. I'm not going to go in detail, but, they cry at the same time of the month. I already knew that. I had a paper box with paper towels with me for the crying Matajis, like distributing the tissues. Yes, crying. Okay, here, like this. 15 years you do this kind of things. I knew even on the knocking on the door, who is behind the door. Everybody knocks differently, you know that? Yeah. We had catastrophes. I could tell you a whole book, I could make just out of the stories from the restaurant, what happened there. And then we had 6 days restaurant open, and on Sunday was a Sunday feast. So the place never closed, really. And the kitchen never closed. There was always somebody there cooking. When you have 600 people, the pots are not, we had 120-liter pots. They are not big enough. You have to cook sometimes in the afternoon again, rice, and just cook more. Because the pots are not big enough. We had a cooling room for vegetables, which was big like this room, this whole sink. It was just for vegetables. And we were, I don't know, the history of that place is so crazy. It's, I was so stupid. I came there. I had a peaceful place in Göteborg preaching. It was a luxurious house I inherited from a preacher before me. Bungalow at the edge of Göteborg, with these glass walls you can move like this, and there was a rock behind with garden. You know, I told our GBC, how can I preach here? It's a nice place, but we are out of Göteborg. He said, depends on your consciousness. If you want to preach, don't worry, people will come. And they did come. The bus stop was right away in front of the door. We had 3 school programs a day, you know, because it got known, Hare Krishna. That's a nice thing about Sweden. That's one of the best things in Sweden. School programs that you don't find in every country. That's only in Scandinavia. Germany, forget it. If you go in a German school, they will call police. You know, no. But here it's like, yeah, okay, sure, Hare Krishna. Hinduism, what is it? The teachers don't know. So they are happy when they can bring the kids. Oh, I could tell you just stories from that time. We had really lots of fun with this. Because the teachers are always the same, but they bring different school classes. And I was 2.5 years in Göteborg. So the classes were changing, but the teacher was the same. So they knew already the lecture. And they were very well of Krishna consciousness, of the philosophy. I had a teacher, very nice man, very intelligent. He declared himself to be a demon, because he read what a demon is. He said, I like it. I am now a demon. And he always brought these very demoniac arguments just to challenge me after the lecture. And I smashed him to pieces, you know. And the children liked that. The students liked it. Oh, our teacher is getting smashed to pieces. That's nice. You know, that's really nice. And he liked that too, actually. Like, I give you an example. He challenged me. You Hare Krishna, you don't know even what fun is. You know? If I would invite you tonight to go with me to the movies, will you come with me? Have some fun? He wanted to demonstrate how screwed up we are. We don't go even to the cinema. I told him, no problem. If you pay the ticket, I will come. But I have one condition. The movie cannot be about eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Then he saw, he said, there is no such a movie. I said, you see, we are going nowhere. This was one of these exchanges, you know, we had. And the kids were like, wow, this is getting really funny here. So I had such a peaceful place to preach in Göteborg. Yeah, but then I make the stupid thing. I was in Stockholm, and I saw the Govinda's restaurant in Stockholm, which was not a restaurant at all. But the location was fantastic. You come up to Stockholm, the first place you come up over the bridge is called Fridhemsplan. And there is a building sticking out like this. And that was Govinda's. I mean, and we had a bus terminal in front of the door. You know, so it was... Huh?
And the tunnelbana.
Yeah, and the subway was just below us. I mean, it was like, so, I mean, I said, this is fantastic. Because when you have a restaurant, location is very important. You know, so... But the restaurant was not a restaurant. There was no kitchen. There was nothing. It was just actually like a shop, big shop rooms, empty, with some dry plants standing in a corner, and bunch of completely intoxicated people coming once a day, eating kitri from the pot. That was called the restaurant. And there was some of them, you may know him, it's Mukunda Prabhu who was there. Very nice devotee. But not really a manager, no.
When was this?
1987. And I wrote to our GBC, great location. He said, you like it? Go there immediately. And now, those days, it was like in the army, okay? The order came. I was going, but he got the book. And he said, don't worry, we will take care of it. No, they didn't, actually. He just wanted me to be in Stockholm. And I understood why. Because Mukunda Prabhu, you know, he is known for being extremely nice. He has his big eyes and he goes, yes, yes, yes. And there was all these crazy people abusing him, you know. Hey, bring more Kitri. Oh, you know. And he was, yes, yes. And then he wrote a few times a day. There was an intense internet already, was established. He wrote for that. Dear Sri Vishnupad, that was his guru. He said, the garbage bags are full. What shall we do with that? You know, things like that. I am now a little bit overdoing it, but it was very much like this. So I understood why Hare Krishna said, I'm tired to answer all these garbage bag questions. You know, you must, you know, and he knew me very well. He knew me by that time for 25 years, you know. So, you know, he knew what I can do. And I never managed restaurant before. I'm not even a cook. I don't know how to cook. So, you know, he didn't care. So I came there with my wife already. Oh, it was dramatical, really. I mean, the stories from that place, it was so crazy in the beginning. First of all, I told Mukunda, you know what? He loved one thing, to preach in schools. That was his domain. He's actually a famous person in Sweden, you know, because he traveled all over Sweden, covering all the schools, you know. And he's very good at it, very good. So he was still a brahmachari, he was not married. So we got him, one bhakta helped, we got him a mobile home equipped for Swedish winters, especially isolated. Those times it was minus 30, minus 40 in Norrland. So, you know, and he left. And he was so happy, he said, I don't have to come back. I said, no, just get out. Just get out, preach in the schools. And he was like, oh, that's nice. And then he just left. So, you know, and then started completely crazy things. These people, they were sleeping in the corners, they were lying there on the floor, intoxicated people in this. So, you know, I don't have a problem to be a little bit physical, so I just started to clean up the place. Actually, after 1 month, I wrote to my GBC, this is my new service. You know, every day I'm beating somebody up. This is my devotional service. His only comment was, get rid of the riffraff. That was the only line I got back. Get rid of this garbage. You know, I was like, okay. Actually, I did call police. And I remember, after 1 week, the big policeman coming in my office, big guy, the police presidium, main presidium in Stockholm, is just next block. So, and he came in my office and said, are you in charge here? And I said, yes. You are the one who was calling us? I said, of course. And a place full of crazy people and really drug, dangerous people. And he said, don't call us anymore. I said, what do you mean, don't call us anymore? He looked at me and he said, listen, you can do with these people whatever you want, but only inside, not on the street. Okay? I said, you don't know me. You don't know what I'm capable to do with these people. You know? And he was completely unresponsive. He said, no, do the needful, you know, and don't call us anymore. And I said, well, if these people can still walk, they will call you up, you know. And he said, don't worry, this is our problem. And then he left. So I was sure the police will never come again. So I started to clean up the place my way, you know. I don't want to go now in details, but yeah. Some people barely could get out of the door and they never came back. No, no. And that was going on like for 1 month, 1.5 months. I had this gummy, you know, this police gummy thing. I was going, this is my new service. This is really great, you know. But then everything changed. Another people came. Because it depends actually on your consciousness, what kind of people may come. And then start to come nicer people. But the first one who came was actually the fire brigade department and the hygienic department. They come when you have a restaurant. And they were going, what are you doing here? They came in a kitchen. There was no ventilation. There was just this gas bottle standing around, this gasol, you know, with these gummy pipes going everywhere. And there was this military cookers like that. I remember that prayer brigade man, he was laughing. He said, Johan, come here. Look, that's the biggest camping place in Stockholm. It was really like camping, you know. It was not a kitchen. Completely illegal, the whole thing. There was no even a ventilation. We made a chance, the cook made a chance, and it spread like fog, you know, through the restaurant. And the only ventilation was over the entrance door. And that ventilation sucked it in and distributed in all the apartments above us, which were actually forward pensioners. Old people lived there. I remember this one of old pensioner, you know, every morning before we opened, he was with a stick in a hand in front of the door and he was going, you know, like this. You know. So we had to build a ventilation from the ground floor, like here, 5 floors up, fat-proof, with filters, everything. We had to put a gas from the street, making a gas connection. It was in a street, but we had to pay for all this. So the first 5 years were just renovation, renovation, renovation. And then it built up more and more and more and more. It is a whole story. I don't want to make a restaurant lectures here. The original issue and the theme is a little bit different. But not one single devotee thanked me ever that I was there serving them. Not one single one. Well, am I upset about this? No, not at all. Not at all. First of all, most of the devotees were imported. So when the big disaster came and the local GBC left, everybody left too. I was finally also leaving because I cannot run a restaurant alone like this. It's not possible. So it was a big, big crisis. But I was never thinking, why is nobody thanking me? I have to thank them. I was serving everybody. No, not at all. Actually, I was serving Prabhupada and Krishna. And I knew they are there. They are watching. And the little secret I can tell you, if one person is not grateful to you, doesn't repay the service you did for that person, somebody else will. Somebody you may not even know. Because I came in my life in various crisis situations. There was a days really I didn't know how to survive the next day. That's an interesting moment. It's very interesting. And especially when you have a family. Oh, that's dangerous. Because my whole family was depending on ISKCON, on the whole structure. That structure collapsed. In 1 week, finished. So I didn't know where to go, and immediately a door opened. Somebody invited us. That's my whole story. I don't want to be autobiographic. But if I would ever write an autobiography, it will be just a testimony how Krishna and Prabhupada are always there, able to help you. Look at Prabhupada's life. Who helped him? Who helped him when he was alone in Vrindavan? Who helped him when he alone went on a boat to the west? An old penniless man with books, boxes of books which nobody wants to read. I mean, what kind of enterprise is this? There was nobody there. And sailing across the ocean, almost dying. He could have died on that ship. They would just throw the body in the ocean and that's it. That would be the end of it. He was ready for that. He was prepared for that. He was finished. He didn't expect anything from anybody. And that was just the beginning. It was not the end. It was the beginning. of a lonely man walking in New York in snow. He never saw snow in his life, you know. It was snowing. Prabhupada said, who painted the walls white? You know, he never saw snow. The first photos of Prabhupada, the very first photo, I got it, you know, is Prabhupada standing in a woman coat, because he didn't have even a coat for the winter. So he's dressed like in a woman coat, obviously too big. And he has this kind of Cossack hat, you know, the Russian hat on his head. And he's standing there completely alone, just. And the first one who came was just some hippies. Basically people who had no money whatsoever, and quite crazy too. You know, they ask questions in a lecture. Prabhupada, I am now also chanting. And whenever I chant, there is a light over my head. And Prabhupada smiled and he said, keep on chanting, it will be switched off. You know, this was the audience Prabhupada had. Can you imagine? There was no even hope for some movement or nothing. Just one old Indian man standing on a street. So I remember these situations very well. Prabhupada had one benefit by that time. He had no family. I find myself in a similar situation with the family. That's more heavy. I mean, it's not more heavy, it's different. You know, I couldn't care less if I die. Seriously, I mean seriously. I'm trained for that. Okay, Manidhara dying, so what? You think there will be some change in the world? The world will go on, come on. You know, with or without Manidhara, the world will go on. So that, I am not concerned with that. But when you have a child, small child, which completely depends on you, when you have a wife, things get much more drastical, much more difficult. And what happened? Krishna helped. And did I enjoy his help? No. On a certain point, that was also over. And again I was there. Hey, what happened? What have I done? You know, this is again end of the road. How many end of the roads I have to see? I was again like, where do we go from here? By that time, my wife, I really understand today, she really had enough of this. Ladies are more stability conscious, I would say. Men are quite simple creatures. They need a garage or some table, you know, with something to eat. That's important, something to eat. We are fine, you know. It's a table with some food and some garage, you know, that's okay. Ladies are much more existential aware and conscious, which also is actually good. It has a function. If you would leave up to the world, to the man, it would be just a bunch of garages, you know. And but ladies, they are, I don't want to go into this, but they are also the preservation of social life. Men are actually very limited in social life. They are not very social beings, really. Except being narcissist, maybe some narcissists, you know, they are like, you know. But most men are not very social, really. They just want to have their peace and their simple thing. But ladies, they are very conscious, you know. What would the internet do without ladies, you know? They are just, you know, he was on the internet today in the morning. You saw the broadcast to Russia? I was today the whole morning in Russia. It was very nice. It was broadcasting to Russia on the internet. Who did you saw on the screen? It was just Russian Matajis, most of them. There was maybe one man or something like that. How is that possible? I tell you, in Europe, if you would eliminate the Matajis out of the preaching field, ISKCON is finished. It's as simple as that. And actually it was very often like that. If you sing in Sweden, who collected all the money, you know, for the temples? You know, I was managing that, you know, so I know that. I know how 15 Matajis collected all the money to buy the Swedish farm in 1 month. So I think 1.5 million Swedish krona collected 1 month. I don't tell you how, but they were really out there collecting money for that. I don't want to go more in detail because none of the Matajis is actually living in that farm. Practically none. There is one La Bangalatika, but she lives close by, but not very good result. Sorry, not very good result. They believe they are collecting for the Varnashram Dharma Society. That's the beginning here in Sweden. In Sweden, Varnashram Dharma Society will start. You know that? That was the propaganda. And they will have their families, and we will be a little society there. Okay, I don't want to go more in detail. You know, something happened, but not that what it was supposed to be. That I can say boldly. So that happens, and there are so many things which can happen in this life. So devotee, he always serves. But the more and more you learn in your life, that the most rewarding thing actually is to serve Krishna. The other services, sorry, but every grihastha knows that. How much service you have to do for your family? A lot. I remember, I had my years too, you know. I never forgot Krishna and Prabhupada, I have to say honestly. But there was a time I had the image of my Torah on my plate 24 hours a day. That's a certain age, you know. Especially when they start to walk. Very dangerous. Because they first walk and then they think, you know, they're no brain whatsoever. They think, no, I can do. Like I heard one day a big bang on a staircase at a house in Czech Republic. There was a big bang. I came running like anything. It was only a few seconds. I left my child. I had a special, it was quite special I found later on. I could be with my daughter day and night for 6, 7 years, 8 years, day and night. I had this kind of privilege. I could do that. So my consciousness was constantly Vaishi, you know, constantly. Of course, if you are a parent, you have to think like this. What happens to my child? And I heard this big bang, bang, and then scream. It was not very common. My daughter is actually unusually careful. She was always very cautious. Not like children running here and there. No. She was very careful. But therefore, I was alarmed. I came running, and she was crying. She was below the stairs. And I couldn't understand what happened, because it had never happened before. It took 20 years more. She explained to me actually what happened. She thought, because under the stairs there was a piece of blue carpet. And she thought, this is water. So she just jumped in the water. From this height, you know, just boom. Yeah, then she realized quickly it was not a water, it was a hard carpet. That's where the scream came from. I was so paranoid, I got actually this cycling helmet for children. And I put it on her the whole day. I was always afraid she will just fall over somewhere and hurt her head. You know, and I remember things like this. But today it's like a dream. It's all gone. All that service, gone. The funniest thing is like children, when we are speaking about children, they get so much service. You can be sure that's the people from previous lifetime. You are owning a lot. Because they were born like your children now. Now you have to serve them. Because they served you in a last lifetime, now you have to serve them. And what a service you have to do, you know, day and night, you know, yeah? So serving. And what happens after that? They forget more or less the whole thing. They walked out like a self-manifested beings, like they fell from the sky or what. You think, hey, I was cleaning her body, I was changing nappies. I know how to do that, by the way. If you want a seminary on changing nappies, I can tell you what is the best quality and how to change them. And how to wash the baby by grabbing it on the left shoulder, having it hanging over the eyes, and washed it. I can do seminars on that too. So anyway, I went through the whole thing. So you think, well, now I have to say my daughter does remember something of this, but she will never understand. I don't even expect her to understand unless she has their own child. I never could understand my parents until I became a parent, really. Then I realized, that's what they went through, And I was supposed, it's recorded from my parents, they told me I was exceptionally peaceful and no troublemaking boy. You know why? I was screwed up in the head. I was just sitting and watching. That was my most of the time. I was just sitting and watching. What are they doing here? Normally you don't expect children to do that. But you know what happened to me? My daughter is the same. I was going, hey, I know this. I was also like this when I was small. From the very early days, other children were just, and she was like, what are they doing here? What is the meaning of that? I can show you photos from that. She's like, they were like this, going, what are they doing here? They don't expect this really like that. In one sense, she's still like that. Very difficult for being a girl in a society when you are like that. But most or many children of devotees are like that, I noticed. I would call it prematurely old. Yeah. They are all like, what is this? Because young people usually, they go, you have a fresh body, fresh senses. You can do maximum sinful activity in minimum time. That's called youth. Most people are like that. When you are older, you can try, but it doesn't work so good. But youth means, hey, here we are, yeah. I remember when I was a student, I never went to parties, I never was, I really hated this stuff. But sitting together with others and speculating, that was good. That was cheap, didn't cost anything. And we could speculate day and night. Just 2-3 guys sitting together and imagining things. And he pulled out a book and he just far out books. Whoa, woo. And we could speculate so much we didn't sleep. We forgot to sleep. We were speculating the whole night. I never took drugs in my life because I was intoxicating myself completely naturally by speculating, So, we spent time like this. When you get older, it doesn't work like this. And in a certain age, becomes really embarrassing. We have people, nowadays, thanks to the society and the propaganda, 50, 60, 60 years old man, he buys himself a motorbike. A leather jacket. And he goes, and he drives around the school to impress the girls. And the girls think, this old idiot is here again. It's embarrassing. Prabhupada actually said we should grow old like gentlemen. And gentleman, he defined the one who agrees on his defeat. Oh yes, I lost it. It's not working anymore. Thank you very much. I'm not going to go into the lady department. That becomes also a little bit funny. One should be actually a dignified person. And the beauty is in the dignity. That's actually the real beauty. It's so undignified to defy the state of the body. But it's very dignified to keep the body functionable in devotional service. And I tell you, really seriously when I travel around. I'm meeting sometimes on the road very, very dignified and very experienced, mature and beautiful old ladies, because they know, they have realizations. Such a type of consciousness, this is in the Vedic scriptures defined. It's it's very dangerous for anybody to insult such a dignified lady. Actually, it's described that the Battle of Kurukshetra was partially fought, and all the party had to be killed for touching Draupadi's hair in a legitimate way, or trying to strip her naked. That was enough to kill them all. They had all died just for that. What to speak what they did to the Pandavas and all this. But for that alone, they all have to die. This is the power of chastity, and this is the power of a dignified dignity. So this is just an example. So serving we have to do. And Prabhupada's point right away in the beginning was very clear. Don't worry, you will have to serve anyway. I don't want to serve. You must. And you will. But I have no family. I am a single, narcissistic, egocentric, happy person. I serve only myself. There are people like this who use even others like some food, They just try to digest others like this. It's called narcissist. Anyway, so, and then, no. Prabhupada said, then you have to serve your senses. And what will the senses do for you? They will make you mad. And you have to serve your body. What will the body do for you? Besides passing stool and urine, it will die. That's it. I was actually given some very nice example when I joined. One devotee told me this. I forgot the devotee, but I never forgot the example. He told me, material life is like working hard, putting your money in a bank, but in somebody else's bank account. So by the time you said, oh, I earn so much money, it's all in my bank account, you find out that was somebody else's bank account. So actually you paid in a wrong bank account. But paying you must do, serving you must do. So Krishna consciousness means actually to serve really oneself, the real self, by serving the Supreme Self, Krishna. And when you do that, you find out in an amazing way, Krishna doesn't need actually our service. Nah, he's God. He's Atmarama, he is self-satisfied. He doesn't need us to be satisfied. But because this is our constitutional position, that's actually where we belong, then we become satisfied by serving him. That kind of satisfaction is beyond old age, beyond death, beyond disease, beyond everything. It's a deep, deep satisfaction. Now finally I am serving the Supreme Grateful One, the Supreme in all regards. Isn't it that what we are looking sometimes for? I know when the girls are young, sometimes they dream up, a boy or some young man coming and white horse, and he is like the hero, right? Well, I don't know one story which didn't get frustrated in this way. Sorry. Not very. They asked me once to give they always ask me to give lectures on marriage ceremonies, you know that? I always tell them, are you sure you got the right man? Come on. You try to be nice. There's no need to be romantic because everybody is romantic already. So, oh, marriage, oh, yeah. Ooh, and the young couple, they are like, yeah, finally, I have to say, especially the ladies. The men are a little bit still unsecure, They are like, I don't know, I'm a little bit shaky, you know. She is so enthusiastic, you know. And the girls go like, whew, it's another dimension, you know. Now, wow, wow, you know. Well, you come after 10 years around and you will find another scenery. You know, she's in the kitchen, you know, and he's coming home from work, you know, yeah. And the children, they do anyway what they want, you know. And then it's like, what happened to all the romantics, isn't it? But this is life. Happened to Srila Prabhupada. You could say Prabhupada didn't have a happy marriage. Really? Well, that was also Krishna's mercy. This is a very intricate subject matter because Krishna can arrange for a devotee that you don't become happy in a material field. Otherwise, you get attached. And if you are a real devotee, you learn to read it. You learn to understand. Prabhupada writes in one letter to his disciple, don't complain about your wife. She is a little bit temperamental. Prabhupada was always very discreet. I could imagine what happened there. You know, there were pots flying around. You know, a little bit temperamental wife. You know, you know that the most murder, domestic violence and murder in America happens in a kitchen. Yes, it's statistics recorded. Because there are all these knives and everything, you know. And the wife gets really angry. Well, you know, maybe later on she regrets, oh, my husband has a knife in her belly, but it's too late. So, you know, since then it happened like this. And I know, sorry, but I know marriages of my godbrothers, there were pots flying like anything. Don't be romantic, please. Let's get realistic. And that's what I do when they invite me to a marriage ceremony. I just say some, you know what I did in Czech? Because Czech people, they like jokes, you know. They like jokes and strange jokes. So I told that actually the married couple that as a marriage present, I would like to give you, I don't have it right now here, but I would like to give you 2 pair of boxing gloves. And they knew what I mean. They were laughing, you know, that because then it doesn't hurt so much, you know. And actually 1 year later, I met one of the, you know, the man. I met him. He was on the street distributing books. It was very nice, you know. So I met him, and he went to his car, and on the car keys, he had a miniature boxing gloves hanging. I told him, who gave you this? And he said, I don't know, but they heard you lecture, you know. Sorry, this is, and Prabhupada writes in the letter, you should take it as a blessing. You should take it as a blessing. If it would be too nice, you get too attached. And we have examples in the scriptures what happens to a king who got so attached to his queen because she was so perfect, she was so nice. You know, what is a perfect wife for a king, perfect queen? Well, it's a quite colorful thing. She has to be perfect counselor, perfect wife, perfect mistress, you know, all at once. Men cannot do that now. Men are too simple, you know. But ladies, they have to play the game. It's very, you know, whoa. You know, and actually they know how to do that. They can be mother here, they can be wife there, they can be mistress here, you know, all in one day. You know, it's like, whoa, you know, there's a certain time for such a games. And the man even knows he's getting cheated. He knows that. He goes, oh, what happened to my wife? She's now my mistress. Well, I like it. Yeah. And then she wakes up in the morning and it's a mother. And the man goes, oh, this is nice. She's taking care of it. This is nice. You know, it's a very tricky thing to do. And in a Vedic society, actually, ladies are trained to do this. They learn it. They learn it from the mother. They learn it from the others. It's a very important role they play in that situation, in that household. It's described in the scriptures that when a woman is disturbed and the household is disturbed, it's like hell. It's just like they can destroy a whole household situation. So it's that's very tricky. So much service is there. We have to serve. So finally Prabhupada did, and he did conclude, especially in 1977 when he was leaving this world, his lectures became more firm. And it was an inventory time. So Prabhupada knew the time is running out for me to be here. So he became more and more essential. So at the end he said, you know what? The best thing is you serve Krishna and nobody else. Then you will be rewarded and then you will deserve. Yeah. But we cannot imitate it prematurely. Prabhupada didn't like us to be prematurely advanced. We have to go through this naturally. And then naturally on our own we will realize more and more that it's better we serve Krishna. Yeah. All the other services, they may not be received and appreciated the way we would expect. In Krishna's case, it is always recorded. It never goes in vain. It's eternally, that word eternally is used. It's eternally recorded. I mean, what more do you want? And Krishna says, just offer me a flower, glass of water, and a leaf. Leaf means actually vegetable, yeah? So, just simple things. And it will be eternally recorded. Just chant Hare Krishna. I mean, that's quite simple. Even a child can do that. Even a parrot can do that. You can teach parrot how to chant Hare Krishna. It's simple. Not a complicated yoga. You don't have to sit in Himalaya and meditate or whatever. No. So, actually, for such a little thing, we get so much. And that was visible in Prabhupada's preaching. He showed us how much we get, how actually rich we get. Even externally, materially spoken, maybe we don't have really much. I don't meet that many rich people in Krishna consciousness because as soon as they get rich, they get attached. Only very few exceptions. I met very rich people in Krishna consciousness, famous people too. I met George Harrison and I met all these people, famous Beatles and all this. I saw them. I mean, you cannot imagine how miserable they were. One example, Ambarish Prabhu, this is the grandson of Mr. Ford, the Ford Company, right? He is still involved. Ford Company is presiding in one of the committee or whatever they have there. He is a very nice devotee, very simple devotee. By karma, you end up in such a situation. He said, it's too much, I just landed in Delhi. I met him in India. He said, I just landed in Delhi. I came here to visit Holy Dham, going Vrindavan, chanting Hare Krishna peacefully. Somehow or other, I found out I was on an airplane. And I come out of the airplane, Delhi airport, there's a bunch of newspaper reporters. Hey, Mr. Ford, when will Ford invest in India? And blah, 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 blah. He said, I cannot go even to the toilet peacefully. There's some photo, This is crazy. This is really crazy. To be famous is a curse. I just read Prabhupada met Mr. Allen Ginsberg. He was famous amongst the hippies. He was the man who... Actually, he did a great service for Prabhupada too. But he was a hippie, really hippie. Drugs, that was his thing. And Prabhupada completely straight out said him, forget the drugs. This will not help you. But he was very attracted to Prabhupada. It's amazing. Prabhupada told him, okay, you like chanting? He said, oh yeah. He had such a small harmonium he was carrying with him most of the time. And he said, I can show you, I know all the Indian tunes. I was in India. And Prabhupada said, that's very nice. So just chant Hare Krishna to it. And he was doing that. Can you imagine Allen Ginsberg arriving in Moscow, invited by the communist government, because he was quite controversial in America. He was quite like, communistic inclined. So they invited him for a symposium, famous writers and everything from Russia, right? You know what he did? The first thing, he pulled the harmonium out and he was chanting for them. That was actually the first time the Maha Mantra was chanted in Russia by Allen Ginsberg. That was before Prabhupada came there. So he actually was very nice. I know devotees, my godbrothers, they joined by the mercy of Mr. Allen Ginsberg. Because they went to the, listen what Ginsberg and said, well, LSD, then you are high up there, blah, 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 blah. But he always chanted. One of them, Suhotra Swami, is one of them. He went to Allen Ginsberg. And then he completely forgot what he was talking about. He said, what was this, what you did in the beginning? He said, well, that's the Maha Mantra, that's Hare Krishna. And then he had in a pocket, he had an invitation to the Sunday feast, So he gave him an invitation to the Sunday feast, and, and he came to and became a devotee. So, Prabhupada used even him. But, what did I start before? How did I go to Allen Ginsberg?
Hippies.
Huh?
Hippies.
Anyway, the universal issue is Prabhupada used even such a person to spread Krishna consciousness. Very pragmatic. But later on, Allen Ginsberg stated that Swamiji is a little bit too conservative. And Prabhupada was upset. He said, what? Me conservative? I already adjusted whatever I could so this Western people can pick up devotional service. I cannot go more. This is not possible, So this is Prabhupada's mercy. There is no need of further adjustments. Prabhupada did all the adjustment already he could. It doesn't go further. It's finished. You adjust more, well then it's not Krishna consciousness. And you cannot expect the same result. But what a simple thing it is, Maha Mantra. And what a great benefit you get out of that. Isn't it amazing? One devotee driving with Prabhupada in a car, he completely burst out. He said, Prabhupada, this is so simple, Krishna consciousness. This is so amazing. And Prabhupada said, yes, Lord Chaitanya make it very simple. But Prabhupada, when I practice Krishna consciousness, I get also some problems. Even it's very simple. Prabhupada said, I said it's simple. I didn't say it's easy. Because actually, to be simple is not easy. Because the mind and the senses, they get all kinds of ideas. Doubts coming. Is it really the thing? No? Yeah? Why are you doing this? I should not be too premature, but there's called 5 years crisis, we used to call it. After practicing Krishna consciousness, suddenly a devotee goes, what am I doing here? An illusion, Maya, is there. Goes, did you ever understood what you are doing here really? Do you understand that God is not different from His name? How do you know that? You are here every day, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, but how do you know that? And are you really ecstatic? Come on. You're not always ecstatic. Sometimes you chant like, Hare Krishna, okay, 16, You count like chopping wood, just one, blah, 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 blah. You think, be honest. You are not always so ecstatic. How do you know it's all illusion out there? You were not out there even. Look at these people. Look, there's a person walking there. He looks so happy. He's so happy. You don't look so happy after so many years of chanting. Huh? How do you know? And then you see suddenly how the devotee becomes silent, just. Maybe I have to think it over again. What have I done? That's usually, it happens to younger devotees, I noticed. The older devotees, they are more like, okay, it's finished, okay. But when you are young, this period can come because Maya goes, you are missing time, you know that? You are a nice girl, you are getting now old and ugly. So, come on, you are missing the fun. Hey. You're not so ugly. You could still, who knows? You are missing the fun, you know that? Look at these girls. Every Saturday night they are walking around laughing. Of course, Sunday morning they are not laughing anymore, but anyway. So, you are missing the fun. This Maya is very powerful. She can really preach. Therefore, we need association of devotees. And you know what the association of devotees will do to you? Oh, there is always somebody who was more in Maya like you. And that person will tell you, hey, I was there. It's not so funny. Don't do that. Therefore, Vedic culture was balanced with the older ones, with the young ones. Because the old ones, they knew. No. I tried this one out. Don't be ridiculous. This will make you funny, you know. And then actually you derive benefit by experiencing of others. You don't have to experience even yourself. It's just a question of being sensitive and serious. So they ask me sometimes, didn't you sometimes to stop this? Do something else? Well, honestly, I have to say, no. But I am not blind. I can see things, you know. I know what I could do. Yes, I could do. Sometimes I used to write songs. Yes. I used to paint. I know exactly how this is painted here. Yeah, this is, the reflection. I know this. I was just in Maribor. This is a Slovenian city. We had a small program. It was in a kind of yoga center. And there was this kind of just colorful images of consciousness. Somebody tried to, like Buddhists do that. No person involved, nothing personal, just colorful image. But it was very well painted. And they were shocked, everybody. I told them, this was painted by approximately 30 years old woman. And they were going, how do you know that? Your first time here in this town, And I said, well, it reflects the consciousness. It's the consciousness of that person, which is depicted here in form of color and mixture. And she was pretty good. She was very decently and very delicately done. So, I know that. I can see that. I see people still being enthusiastic by the very same things I could do. Can I do that? Nah. I can try. You give me colors and you get this. I can try. After 5 minutes, I go, maybe I could do something else. Maybe I could give a lecture or something like that. Why? Because I like much more to do this. I could talk to you until midnight, you know that? And because I like it. I started today morning in Russia. I can continue until midnight. Because it's so nice. In your association, I can remember Prabhupada more. I can remember Krishna more. It's not, you think like I came here to listen. No, you also came here to give. I know that everybody sitting here has some interest in Krishna consciousness, otherwise you wouldn't sit here. So you already have some Krishna consciousness. And for me, it's exciting to discover how people are discovering Krishna consciousness. It gives me more faith. Sometimes I saw people, this is not the case here, but I saw people in such a bad karmic shape, really demolished cases, too many drugs, too much intoxication, too much sex, just broken people. You cannot imagine what I saw happening to them when they picked up Krishna consciousness. One of my godbrothers, he died already, but he was another godbrother informed me, you remember him? And I said, yeah, I remember him. I was serving with him, And he said, you know how he joined this movement? I said, no. I remember him only as being a very, very nice devotee. He said, you know how he joined? It was a total madman. I was there, Prabhupada was there. And this was just a boy who was running from one room to another, just talking. I said, really? How is that possible? What did you do? He said, well, I went to Prabhupada. I said, well, there's a boy, he doesn't want to leave, but he's running from one room to another just talking. What shall we do with him? And Prabhupada told him, lock him in a room, close the door so he cannot open it, and tell him if he doesn't chant, he will not get any food. And that much he could understand. So I locked him in a room and he was Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Hare, because he was hungry. And then I went to Prabhupada and said, he's now chanting. Prabhupada said, give him prasadam. I gave him prasadam and he was much better. By the way, the very same devotee became one of the ISKCON gurus. Can you imagine what Prabhupada did? What he was achieving? Out of a boy who was running around, he became one of the ISKCON gurus. How is that possible? I saw amazing things. Huh? I try to avoid names. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It was Jatiyata, anyway. But I try to avoid. There's no use. They're already dead. They're gone. But I just want to illustrate how amazing it can be in Krishna consciousness. I saw amazing things happening. I saw women joining who were, just straight prostitutes from the street. Just straight out. By the way, I used to distribute for 2 years as a brahmachari, preach in a city of Berlin. You know what Berlin city? It was West Berlin those days. It was not united. It was West Germany, East Germany. West Berlin was advertised in a tourist agency. Let's go to Berlin and get crazy. That was the official advertisement for the town. You cannot imagine a sinful activity not being committed on a street like in Berlin. And we had a temple which was on huge streets, There was a crossing, and after the crossing, the rest of the street was just brothel houses, just prostitutes, that's all. It was a problem because I had to bring all the ladies from the Sunday feast to the subway because they didn't want to go alone on the street. It was dark already outside, they didn't want to go out. So I had to transport ladies to the subway so they can safely go home. Because the they went alone on the street, there was a car stopping going, how much? Wow, this was the place we preached. Berlin was completely insane town, And I was there with Bhakti Bhushana Maharaj, wonderful, wonderful devotee. We were both brahmacharis. That was before he even took sannyas. And I could give you another huge lecture just about Berlin. It was so mad, you cannot imagine. If you think Malmö is crazy, it's nothing. It's heavenly planets here in comparison to Berlin. It's unbelievable. So that was the place we preached. And Bhakti Bhushana Maharaj, he was such an expert, delicate preacher. He didn't speak much. He was just so pure and so exemplary. People were just immediately shaping up when they came close to him. They were very careful. That's called preaching. In 1 year, 30 new devotees joined from that town, preached by him. I was more the maintenance, and of course I always played the role of a bodyguard. It was needed. There was really violent things going on there. That was, I remember after one Sunday feast lecture, it was big rooms. We had a place which was just an apartment, but big rooms, these old high buildings, And we had like 5 rooms like this. It was quite a big place. And then we had one guy coming. He called himself Merlin. He considered himself a magician who will teach us Sanskrit. And he always had a big black hat, like this magician have a hat with stars on it. And then he had a big stick like a danda. And he always came to bless us. And I hated the guy from the first moment. But I mean, we had so many crazy people coming, so what's the problem? So he was giving him prasadam and all this. And then one Sunday feast, I remember sitting him in one room. There was these doors in between, these big doors, you know. And behind the door was our ashrama where we lived. So he was sitting just at the door with the back to the door, and he was giving lecture how to become peaceful in Krishna consciousness. In the meanwhile, I was always in the back checking, you know, who is coming. I found Merlin in our ashrama, opening cupboards and looking, you know, through our luggage and everything. I told him, what are you doing here? He said, it's not your business. Well, I was on him immediately. I remember I broke his stick over his head. And it was and he was a strong guy. So there was so much noise coming out of the room. Bam, boom, bam, bam, boom. And behind the door was Bhakti Bhushana Maharaj, who was going, you chant Hare Krishna, you become very peaceful. So I dragged Merlin on his hair out of that apartment and kicked him down the stairs, closed the door. That was the end of the story. So, you know, and he never came back again. And after the lecture, Bhakti Bhushana said, there was so much noise behind the door. What happened? And I said, well, I demolished Merlin. And he just looked at me and was going, good. And that was it. That was preaching in Berlin. I mean, I can tell you stories day and night. I mean, there was hardly anything crazy. What couldn't actually really surprise me, if there is a little naked green man coming here in the door, I am not surprised. Sorry. This is material world. Anything can happen anytime. No problem. So this is preaching Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada the same. You can hear the first recording of his kirtans, the first recordings. It sounds like from hell. Bam, bam, boom, bam. There was a guys coming in banging on something, you know. And sometimes Prabhupada chants, Hare Krishna, and he goes, sit down, you know. There was another LSD character going, you know. This is the first recordings of Prabhupada's kirtans. It's just like from hell, you know. Well, that's how Prabhupada started. And we find, preachers finds himself in such a, you know, in such a situation. So that's Krishna consciousness. What can you do? This is the material world, you know. And so we could remember Prabhupada's example, how bold he was and how merciful he was, that he made really the most unqualified people to devotees, and very productive devotees too. I think I'm getting too long with this. I can go until midnight, I don't care. For this I have to be in Russia, you know. Russian people are incredible. Whenever I want to stop in Russia, they go, spasibo, spasibo. And it doesn't stop, you know. I'm really grateful today in the morning that the internet is timed, you know. So on a certain point, they cut you off. Otherwise, these people who were there, they were like, whoa, let's keep on going, you know. So this is what it is. It doesn't happen really to me in Sweden, but in Russia, yeah, no problem. And, you know, and there's right now a group of devotees in Albania, I think, preaching, you know, from Czech. I saw video recordings from that, I can show you.
Yeah, you can show us.
There's just a small band of devotees, first time really going on the street, making Harinam. And immediately you see people joining, they're going, They brought some books, they already have books in Albanian, you know, Bhaktin Emma is the editor. She is really a very essential part of that. Doing a service for that alone. I get a little bit emotional because Prabhupada got emotional. For that alone, you will go back home, back to Godhead. I can give you guarantee that. Because Prabhupada, he said, wherever a new book of me is published, I feel like I conquered the universe, another universe. is so important, because from that book you help to come out. For 100 years, people can benefit all the time. We will not be here anymore, but the books will stay. That's the important part. And Prabhupada knew that. Therefore he was so stressing. Every new language, every new book, Prabhupada was in ecstasy. So, yeah.
And there are many devotees there.
And we will see. We don't know.
Yeah, one girl, she saw Krishna in her dream and opened a shop with Krishna's name. From nowhere. Yeah.
You never know.
You never
We don't know.
Exactly.
One devotee is Czech. I know the Czech devotees who went there. I know them personally. So one of the devotees said, the first guy who bought a book from me was a policeman. That doesn't happen really in other countries so easily. No, because it's a completely fresh field. They don't know. It can change when the government gets alert or whatever. It can change, but the beginnings are sometimes very innocent. You come to a new place, new country, nobody.
About the religions, it's so special in Albania. We have not like separation, Muslim, Christian, Buddhist. We are open for all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is special.
And Albania was known as one of the worst places. It was the only place in communistic countries where they bulldozed down all the churches and everything. Very heavy regime. It was known, Albania is like, even amongst communists, it was like, wow, what are they doing here? The only time communism got a little bit worse was in China. You know why? Because it's such a big country, and there were regions of China where the communists were, got known that they were eliminating the opposition, the leaders of the opposition, by eating them. So that's a little bit extreme, really. Cannibalism, That's China. There are such a regions there. But Albania, everybody thought, well, this is the last place, this is, nobody can go there. All these devotees who try to preach to the East, in the communistic days, Albania was not on the list. So it's happening. You never know. You don't know who started. Does somebody remember who started preaching in Sweden? I know who did.
Wegeman.
Huh?
Wegeman.
No. That was before him. Alanath Prabhu, my god brother. He came here. Hansa Tuta was here. When Prabhupada arrived in Sweden, there's a photo, I mean, look at the photo. How many Swedish devotees are there real? No. This is the German crew, Hansa Tuta and everything. That was the time I was already here in Krishna consciousness. But I was considered too valuable on a street to distribute and collect money, so they didn't involve me into going to Sweden. That was like only for the privileged ones. Hansa Tuta, the leader, and a few others, they went to Sweden. And they actually tried to preach here too. Does somebody who remember who preached first time in Finland? No. There was one god brother from England, and Smita Krishna Swami was one of the first ones who went there. Finland those are just Eskimos, it's all finished up there. Nobody went to Finland, where's Finland, I was practically the first devotee in Norway distributing Prabhupada books, 1975, something like that. 76, something like this. There was nothing in Norway. Oslo was a village. It was a fisherman town. It's a long story how I got there. It was out of emergency because in Germany we got so much trouble with the police. But the leaders sent us, a whole party, to Norway to collect money. And I came first time to Norway, I had no idea where I am. First time I drove through Sweden, Helsingborg, and then along the coast, Göteborg, and we drove in one piece. We started driving in Frankfurt, and next day night we were in Oslo. I arrived in Oslo 2 o'clock in the morning in the winter. It was cold. I had no idea where I am. So I had two brahmacharis with me. Bharata Prabhu and Sudesna Prabhu was these names. Bharata Prabhu was later on in Sweden, you know. So we arrived in Oslo. We had no idea where we are. It was dark and empty. There was nobody on the street, 2 o'clock in the morning. I was going, oh, we need some hotel. We have to stay overnight. It's cold. We cannot stay in a car. So I drove everything was closed. Dark town, closed. It was just next to the shopping street, a little shopping street. There was one place open, quite open. I was going, hey, a hotel open, very nice. So I walked in, in the reception, there was a man like almost sleeping there. So I said, sorry, but we just arrived from Germany. Maybe you have some room for us? And he looked at me and he said, what kind of room? So I told him straight out, listen, we are 3 monks. And he was going, monks! And he could speak some English. That was an advantage because in Norway nobody spoke English. So, and I was going, but this is the only place you have open. He said, okay, I have some room. At the end of the corridor, there is few rooms. One is empty. You can go in there. So I told, hey, Prabhus, we have a room to stay overnight. And I said, how much does it cost? He said, we can talk about this tomorrow morning. So we just got our luggage, and went into the room, 3 men, 1 double bedroom, we didn't care. So next morning I was going to the reception. It was light, and I was like, strange place. There was red curtains, red carpets, everything was red. And suddenly down the stairs came a half-naked lady. I was like, whoa! And I looked at the man in the reception and he said, no, how long are you staying? I said, well, probably 2 weeks. And he said, oh, I give you a rabat, I give you a reduction for that. It was a very reasonable price, it was not very much money. So I was going, okay, let's ignore the half-naked lady walking around here. I will pay it. Then I went out of the building and I look at it, I was going, my God, we end up in a brothel house. 3 brahmacharis. So I went in the room and said, Prabhus, I have good news and bad news. We have a place to stay right away next to the shopping street, and it was not very expensive. But it's a brothel house. And they were going, are you crazy? Let's get in a car again. I said, sorry, we are here to distribute. We are going to go from the brothel house. If you want to find some other hotel, be my guest, but it's going to be more expensive like here. So we were 2 weeks distributing from the brothel house. And I have to say, the prostitutes were very nice. They were coming, they were curious, they were, oh, there are monks here. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, for a prostitute, it's very interesting to meet a man who is not interested in sex. They couldn't hardly believe such people exist. So they were all, hey, hello, we are monks. And he said, going, yes, we are monks, Salivase. And they're going, oh, that's interesting. They even got some books, They are not like, this was not this kind of junkie, prostitutes. It's professional, it's an employee, So this was my first visit in Norway. I went on a street, nobody spoke English. I was going, how can we distribute here? After 5 minutes, a young boy came, and he looked to me like a student. I said, excuse me, can you speak English? And he said, of course, I'm studying English here in Oslo University. He said, very good. You see, I am here, I am supposed to distribute this here, but nobody speaks English. Can you help me? And he said, yeah, sure. Norwegians were so simple, such a simple people. They were all like, yo. They sounded to me like chicken, Like, yo. And everybody stopped. We were not used to this in Germany. And everybody was like, oh, oh, you know. And then, and the boy was going with me the whole day. I stopped the people, and he translated the mantra to say, simple thing. By the end of the day, the boy was so ecstatic. He said, I don't know why, but I was never so happy in my life. Can I come tomorrow again? And I said, of course. So for 2 weeks, he was going with me every day, translating, and I was stopping people, and he became part of the Sankirtan. It was amazing. And then, that was my first visit in Norway. And then we came back. We had nothing in the car anymore. We were just packed with money. These people were, it was not before the oil was even discovered in Norway. But still, these people were not so poor. You know, they, we were going, wow, it's like heavenly planets here. So I came back, I put all the money on the table of the temple president. He looked at me and he said, in 2 months you go again. So then we went again to Norway like that. Okay, it's getting really late, I think. Okay.
It is so special you are here, and I think maybe we can adjust a little bit. We can offer Boga to the kitchen, and we can continue to chant a little bit, and after we question.
Well, it depends. What about your schedule? You have to go.
No.
You have to job tomorrow.
Yeah, but
Yeah, we have time. I think 5 o'clock. We can do in kitchen with Mohini, and we just chant a little bit.
We have 5
is
o'clock.
everything ready already? So
Yes,
we
it
can
is
offer
ready,
here,
yeah.
and-
Yeah.
We just need to prepare the plate and.
No, it is. I think already.
Yeah,
It
but
is
no problem, do
ready.
it here.
Yeah, like you prefer. We can offer here. We can offer in kitchen.
Han offrar här.
Yeah.
In Russia, they are so used to me already from the previous visit. The one thing about Russians, they never forget. You can give lecture. 3 years later, you meet devotees, they will tell you what you said in the lecture. They never forget this. It's amazing, really. So, so they announced my program today in the morning. Manidhara tells stories. That's it. Because I really like to hear stories, Yeah, like this. Yeah, but the stories in Krishna consciousness always have another dimension to it. We can learn about how amazing Krishna can be, how amazing it can be to be in Krishna consciousness. These stories I am telling is not the past. It can be the future. The mercy is still here, and there are so many open fields to preach and inform people about Krishna. It's all here. Yeah. So, okay. Anyway, thank you for still sitting here. That's nice. Yeah.
I think we continue. If we have some questions, something, we can chant little together. We are not so many today.
No, but
We make
you
it
have to
little
tell me.
simple and special, yeah.
Not so many, that's a standard in Sweden, I know that. I was in Sweden
I
long
think
enough.
we make like the family, we have some question maybe, or we discuss little more, some topics.
It's up to you. I can go with anyway.
During the prasadam, after prasadam as well.
Yeah.
So we can
yeah.
continue the program as usual.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
after prasadam we can stay.
I had yesterday a program in Lund in a flat. A young Grihasta couple, Indians, they arranged for a program because when you're in India, they call it, we will invite you to our house. But actually house means a flat. So they just bought actually a small flat, and they want to have some kind of ceremony, just some program to bless the place. This is this is a pious thing. Actually, it became very nice. It became very, small, nice thing.
Always, it is nice. Okay.
Ska vi inte sjunga artigt?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, what is the next program?